Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we will be covering something a little different today. Usually on this channel we read funny or scary stories, but this time we will be reading some motivational stories while we play Doom 2016. If you like videos like this, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And the stories will be linked in the description below, and check out the playlist with all of these videos. That being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear, until it is done.
What is dreaming or mental movies? Mental movies, we are a human magnet. We became what we think about. I am going to explain this 2 lines in this post with a very interesting example. We all know about the recent release of the movie Gunjan Saxena, The Cargo Girl. What should we learn from the movie? A lot of things that we should learn from this movie. I was strongly attracted toward the dream that she saw since her childhood. Actually, what is dream? We can call it as mental movies or movies of the mind. We are a human magnet. We became what we think about. I am going to explain this 2 lines in this post with a very interesting example. A girl named Alice put a bumper sticker, I-O. So off to work I go on her car. Every morning, Alice steps outside to greet the day and sees a statement, I-O. So off to work I go. When it's time to leave work, she goes back to her car and sees, I-O. This idea will become embedded in her subconscious mind. She'll form mental pictures associated with being in debt. She will attract lots and lots of debt. The harmless little bumper sticker today becomes your reality tomorrow. With an attitude like that, what do you think her future will bring? Prosperity or more debt? We both know the answer to that question. Moral from the story, so be careful while you're dreaming or making your mental movies. Some people use negative aids with very serious consequences.
Cannot determine the cause of the demonic invasion until the Resop satellite is brought back online.
The Fish and Chips Man. So this one time I was in a chip shop. Completely random, I know. He was 60. He turned around randomly to me after he had just sat down to eat. He stood up and walked over to me. He asked my age. I told him I was 14. That was my age at the time. And then out of nowhere he pulled out a tape measure and measured 70 centimeters and then told me it was called a lifeline and that the average human lives to around 70. He said to look at my age compared to how much he had left, and he started going on about how he feels like he hasn't lived and that he regrets that. And he wanted me to use my time. And he warned me about all the crap that goes on in life, but also said I could do whatever I wanted in my life. 'Cause I'm there for only a short time. Why would it matter if I did something I didn't want to do? He pointed out that whatever can go wrong, there's always got to be a right. And if you don't think it's near, then look at the time you got left.
Demonic presence at unsafe levels. Lockdown in effect.
How to effect a change in your finances. A slave and his master were about to embark on a journey, and the slave pleaded with his master not to tell their host he was a slave. His master agreed with a warning that he should not act like one. They both agreed and set out on the journey. When they got there, their host welcomed them with utmost respect because the man was a very rich and an influential figure. They treated the slave with equal respect because they thought he was a friend or business partner to his master. The way he dressed convinced them even more. Everything went on fine until the next day when his master went out. First, he started to sing meaningless songs, dancing and clapping and disturbing the peace of the house. After smoking marijuana, he pulled off the shirt he wore, not minding it was winter, went straight to their host's garden, and began to cut down some overgrown flowers, feeling that he was in his master's house. When they saw the way he behaved, they concluded that he would be the right person to wash all the dirty dishes in the house. They ordered him to the kitchen at once. He grinned and started to do what he knew how to do best. When his master returned and saw him in the kitchen watching dirty dishes, he asked him, "Was I the one who called you a slave?" Before they embarked on that journey, the slave forgot one thing. He forgot that wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him. He wore his best clothes to the place, but forgot that his attitude was naked. He was so dumb to come to the realization that it was not really the chains on him that made him a slave, but his attitude towards life. As they set out on the journey, his master kept his promise by setting him free. Despite this, he was still in chains. No wonder the great boxing legend Muhammad Ali said, "It isn't a mountain ahead to climb that wear you out. It is the pebble in your shoes." Dear reader, it is madness to apply the same antidote to an ailment and expect a different result. Madness to expect to look like Beyonce or Tom Cruise when the image you set before a mirror bear great resemblance with that of Pongo pygmaeus, orangutan. You might be putting in as much effort as anyone else, but if what you do with your time and with your life is not in alignment with the vibration of success, your life would go on like this indefinitely. Simply put, you will remain where you are until your lifespan runs out in death. Success, contrary to what many think, does not happen accidentally. It requires something from us to manifest. There are two things you need to let go before you can become success. Finally made it to college after dreaming of it my whole life. Sorry for any typos or horrid grammar. This is my first post. Ever since I was around 8 years old, I dreamed of going to college. I, however, was homeschooled, and not the good kind. My mom taught me how to read when I was about 7 to 8. My dad was always too busy working, and I had 6 other siblings, so my mom never had time to teach us. My younger siblings were special needs, so I had to raise them from the age of 1 till they were at least 6 to 7 years old. When I was 9, my mom gave me a few school workbooks, then told me to make sure I did them every day. For years later, she asked me if I did any of it. I obviously hadn't. I fucking played games all day long, and it was amazing until I turned 14 and realized how much I fucked my life up by not trying. But because of how busy my life was, helping raise kids, helping run my mother's business and all, I had no time to study. But when I got a few years older, I finally got a job, saved up and bought a laptop, then went online sites to teach myself. When I turned 18, I went out and took my HISA test. Somehow passed it, then took my ACT test as well, and did amazingly well in some areas. Next thing I know, I'm signing up for classes in a community college near me. And looking back on myself 2 years ago, I've come a long way. I've achieved my biggest dream in life. Now I have a steady job, a car, and I'm going to college in less than 3 weeks thanks to my girlfriend and her family, who helped me out and pushed me to study and get my HISA. So if anyone reads this or anything, my best advice to you is that if you have a dream, never give up. The family that beeps together. I live in the only real city in a pretty rural area. So our big shopping mall tend to attract families who come in from nearby villages for their big stock-up trips a couple of times a year. This was back when self-checkouts were still a novelty, but our mall's grocery store already had a few. I'm using one when the machine next to me frees up. A trio swoops in, a grandmother, a mother, and a little girl who's maybe 4, all clearly on an exciting family shopping adventure. Their cart is packed. They poke at the touch screen for a bit until they get the hang of it. And then Grandma starts scanning. After every single item, Grandma leans in and makes the most enthusiastic little beep sound. After a minute, Mom suddenly asks, Mom, can I do the beep too? I've always wanted to do that since I was a kid." Grandma bursts out laughing and says, "Grandma, of course. It's fun, isn't it? I always wanted to do it too." So now both of them are doing dramatic, delighted beeps with every item, and the little girl gets her turn as well, with some help from her mother. They're absolutely thrilled, and honestly, it was adorable. The attendant monitoring the self-checkout eventually walks over, smiling so hard I thought her face might crack, and gives them a small discount. "Attendant, because you ladies just made my whole shift." paying so you can move forward. Yesterday, I had a rare interaction at a grocery store. I had gone to get several things and went through the register with very little wait. I got out to my car and realized I had forgotten a couple of small things. I went back inside and went to the aisle where they were located, but didn't see exactly what I was looking for. I spent about 5 minutes deciding on what to get instead and headed to the registers. There were several open, and none of them seemed to have more than one customer, but every customer had a lot of items. I hate self-checkout. So I finally picked one where the customer seemed to have the fewest items. I got in line and noticed they were a young family. Dad, mom, toddler, and baby in a sling across Dad's chest. They were still unloading their cart when Dad looked at me and saw that I didn't seem to have much. Dad, do you have many items? I showed him what I had, and he said, Dad, you know you can use the self-checkout rather than waiting. I kind of resented that he seemed to think I didn't know that. Me, I hate self-checkout. He then looked at the mom, then back at me, and picked up my 2 items and handed them to the cashier, who rang them up and put them in a bag. Dad, so you don't have to wait for us. Today your things are on me. I tried to thank him, but he was too busy with his family to pay attention, so I left. My total was less than $6, I think, but I was very grateful to this young family. I will look for an opportunity to pass it on in the near future. Maybe I will even do it more than once. Our regulars wear many hats and sometimes badges. I work at one of the busiest stores in the state for a very big coffee chain. It's always packed, but our regulars are the best. One day, a guy in the lobby gets heated. Something about whipped cream, one of those tiny things we could have fixed in a heartbeat. His voice carries across the cafe. Before I can step in, one of our regulars in the drive-thru, a police officer who usually comes by in her squad car, happens to be off duty but still in uniform. She hears the noise, parks her car, and walks straight inside, not even waiting for her drink. She doesn't have to say a word. The man eventually calms down and leaves on his own. Afterward, we try to give her a drink for free, just as a thank you for looking out for us. She shakes her head, pays in full, and drops a $20 bill into the tip jar instead. I know the cops around here don't make a huge amount of money, but there's just a weird and awesome bond we have with our regulars. Hats off to happy couples. Mid__, January 3rd, 2026. Last season, I was working at a little winter gear shop in a ski town. One of those places where everything from snowboards to mittens is stacked to the ceiling. One snowy Saturday, a couple came in with their 2 kids. The kids went straight for the helmets and ski boots, eagerly pulling their parent around, begging to try on every single item. While the mom was distracted, the dad came up to me, casting a quick look over his shoulder. With a grin, he whispered, "Husband, don't let my wife see. I've been eyeing this hat for weeks." He slipped me 30 euros, and I rang him up, casually chatting about the powder forecast as I tucked the beanie into his bag. Just as he finished, his wife approached, wrangling the kids. She made her way over to the same rack of hats and leaned over the counter with a knowing smile. "Wife, don't let my husband see, but he's been needing this hat." She handed me the cash, winked, and went back to gathering up their gear. They left with a little secret smile on each of their faces, and I knew they just bought each other the same hat.
Welcome to the UAC. Now 221 accident-free days.
Hello, I am Vega, the sentient intelligence assigned to Mars. After running diagnostics on the Praetor suit, it appears that I can activate
Tip to be a
optional
good year.
challenges
Our
that when
24-hour
completed,
fast
will
food
assist in
restaurant is
upgrading your
open
arsenal
on New
at an
Year's Eve.
accelerated pace.
We're getting ready to
I
work
have
through
added a
midnight.
tracking component
When a
to your
co-worker
dossier.
notices something in the tip jar, we keep at the order station. Co-worker, oh my God. Me, what is it? We all turn to see our co-worker holding up a $100 bill attached to a note that says, "Note, for everyone who worked instead of partying." Co-worker, that's awesome. Me, that wasn't there an hour ago. Co-worker, who could have been? Me, I don't know, but I want to wish them a happy new year. We tell our manager, who loves a mystery, and goes back to the camera footage. Manager, it's hot chocolate guy. Me, the guy that came in just for a small hot chocolate? Manager, yeah, it looks like he was waiting for you all to turn your backs to leave the tip. He just sat there, drinking his hot chocolate, then ran up to the jar to dump the money, and then ran out. If I didn't know what was about to happen, I'd have thought he was going to swipe the jar. Co-worker, Happy New Year to hot chocolate guy. The receipt that sparked a resolution. I'm starting my shift on the morning of New Year's Eve. A woman approaches my checkout, and I start scanning her items. Then she says, "Customer, do you remember me?" Me? I'm sorry, I don't. I get a lot of customers. The customer smiles and shows me a carefully folded receipt from our store. It's dated exactly 1 year ago, on last year's New Year's Eve. For a split second, I'm worried that this woman is about to ask for a refund on an item she bought last year. But then I notice a small written scrawl at the bottom of the receipt. It's my own handwriting. Scrawl, cheering you on? I know you can do it. Suddenly, a memory comes rushing back into my brain. Last year, I served a woman who was buying a lot of healthy items. She had been commenting about how she had received worrying news from her doctor that her health was being impacted by her diet, and she was at serious risk in the coming year if she didn't change what she ate. I remembered her looking worried and not feeling very hopeful for the year ahead. I remembered scrawling that little note on the receipt to provide what tiny encouragement I could. This woman in front of me now is easily over 100 pounds lighter than the woman I had served a year ago, but it is definitely the same woman. Me, now beaming. Well, I guess you did it. Customer, yep, clean bill of health from the doctor. Every day I felt tempted to fall into bad habits. I would look at your note. My family didn't think I could do it, but I remember that one cashier who believed in me, and I didn't want to let her down. Me, I don't know what to say. Customer, nothing to say. I just wanted to let you know and wish you a happy new year. I'm holding back tears as I scan her, still healthy, items. We have a little hug. And now she's my weekly regular customer, sharing recipes on healthy food and such. A little philosophical exchange inside a pizza quesadilla. My grandfather and I were returning from a long trip. It was Christmas night. We had not eaten very much at the Christmas church service we were returning from, and Grandpa had an unused $20 gift card for a popular pizza chain. So we decided to stop at that chain for something to eat. I scratched off the gift card and entered the small store. I'd never been inside a chain before and didn't know what they usually sold. So it took me a moment to inspect the menu. The store was empty except for two scruffy-looking, strong, tattooed young men behind the counter. One was bald, and the other wore long dreadlocks. Being a young woman alone in the building with them, I was admittedly somewhat nervous initially. The scruffier employee, perhaps seeing my hesitation, greeted me. Employee, "Hi, have you ever been in a chain before?" Me, "Oh, hi. Nope, never, but I was always curious. Do you guys sell sandwiches at all?" He smiled at my stupid question, but he answered my question instead of laughing at me. Employee, "Really never?" No, we don't sell sandwiches, but I can make you a couple of pizza quesadillas. Folded pizza crust stuff or whatever you want. I ordered a cheesesteak quesadilla for Grandpa and a custom quesadilla, stuffed with turkey, barbecue sauce, spinach, and Swiss cheese for myself. As the less scruffy employee wanted to make them for me, the first employee made small talk. Employee, you look like you're dressed up for church. I was wearing a modest dress, black dress shoes, and a 1940s style cloche hat. Me, yep, my grandfather wanted to go to a Christmas service with his family a couple of hours away. I'm Christian, but I don't really celebrate Christmas. I went for him, though. Do you guys usually work through the holidays? Employee, I'm Muslim. I don't celebrate Christmas either. We work through every holiday. He then started getting into a deep discussion on common morals versus religion, the moral obligations of man, how television corrupts both religion and morals, etc. I admit it was an interesting conversation, and we actually agreed on several points. It turned out that he was quite the philosopher. By the time the food was done, we both had a decent amount of respect for each other's viewpoints. When I went to check out, the gift card wouldn't scan. It turns out their scanner was broken. Employee, you know what? They're on the house. It was really nice talking to somebody so polite with a head on their shoulders. And it's off hours. Just enjoy them. I thanked them both and left a big tip, waving and wishing them well as I left. The quesadillas were fantastic, and I will definitely be returning to that place. Clients from heaven. I have a hobby that I turn into a small business. It's not a lot of money, but it's kind of nice, and it's a thing that I enjoy doing. Over the last 5 years or so, I have developed a reputation as a man of my word and someone who provides a great product at a fair price. I live in an area that has a lot of vacation homes around a lake. These homes are owned by people who have $500,000 or more to spend on having a place on the lake to go on weekends during the summer. Mary and Steve were two of these people. Mary and Steve own a couple of businesses. They are known for treating people fairly. Even people whom they have fired will tend to acknowledge that they had it coming. Mary stopped by my shop back in September. She wanted to hire me to do some work for them, for Steve's Christmas gift. I could do what she wanted me to do. I gave her a price tag of $5,500. She agreed instantly. We shook hands, and I went to work. I got it finished up on December 20th, just in time. I had to take a few days off from my regular job to make it happen. Mary was thrilled at the results. She went to get me a check, and she wanted to write it out for $11,000, double what we agreed on. I declined, telling her the $5,500 was what we agreed to, and that's all I was going to take. December 26th rolls around, and Steve shows up, thanking me for his Christmas gift, gushing over the craftsmanship, then complains that I wouldn't take the bonus money that I was offered. I explained to him. Me. Mary and I agreed on the price, and we shook hands on it. A deal is a deal. Steve, well, at least let me buy you and your girlfriend dinner 21 times. He had a big S asterisk, 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 eating grin on his face. I should have known he was up to something. I thought about it, thinking about local restaurants, and agreed. Then he said, Steve, my choice, any place I choose, all on my dime. In hindsight, this should have clued me into the fact that he had something up his sleeve. I smiled, laughed, and said okay. The entire month of January went by. I didn't hear anything from Steve and Mary, which is fine. We're not exactly in the same social circles. At the end of January, all of a sudden my girlfriend just got super happy, like giddy. I knew she had a secret she was keeping from me, but I wasn't sure what. She told me to pack my bags for a Valentine's Day trip. We would be gone for 10 days and bring my passport. We got to the airport, and who would you guess was there? Steve and Mary. I was shocked as this asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Steve said he had a debt to pay, and he owed us 21 meals at a time and place of his choosing. And he chose Rome over Valentine's Day. I tried to say no, but he threw my words back in my face. Steve, a deal's a deal. The four of us spent the next week in Rome, Italy. Steve and Mary paid for our flights, hotel room, and 21 meals. All of our tours and transport were on us. We got back home on the 22nd of February. We had a great time.
Demonic presence at unsafe level. Lockdown in effect.
A pleasant discover why. I'm taking a commuter train to a rock concert in downtown Salt Lake. Just before I board, I see an email from Discover Card saying my replacement credit card was on its way because it's been reported lost/stolen. I think, that's strange. I don't remember doing that. Is this a phishing email? But then I look at my wallet, and sure enough, my card is gone. I call Discover, and as it turns out, it fell out of my wallet when I tapped the fare payment card against the reader. I didn't see it happen, but someone found it at the station, rather than go out on a spending spree, because no one ever checks ID or signature here. They called it in and reported it. There are still plenty of good people in this world. They just don't make very many headlines. When fast food slows down. I worked at a fast food place in my teenage years, but I worked a unique one on a military base inside a large U.S. military hospital in Germany that treated many of those hurt in wars. I was working there during the surge in Iraq. I started to notice a soldier come in. He had intense burns all over his body. Most of his face was wrapped up. You could tell he had burns everywhere, and every step was painful. He would come to my fast food place every Sunday and order an original chicken sandwich with onion rings, everything fresh. Quickly, I recognized he always orders the same thing. So one day I made a deal with him. If he sees me working, he sits at the closest table, and I'll punch in his order, get his food, and take his payment at the table. No, of course we weren't set up for this. This is fast food, but I did it. I did it every time I saw him. Then one day, my manager was working on Sunday and saw me do it. He told me I can't do that. I basically said, I understand, I don't care, I'm going to keep doing it. My manager tried to explain the reasoning, which I understand, and I cut him off and said I plan on continuing to do it. That was the end of that conversation. I would even make customers wait if they weren't also hurt. I remember one time I made a colonel wait for his food so I could get this soldier's food. The colonel saw me do this, gave me a coin, and asked me what my name was, and asked me where my dad worked. I was nervous. I just told him what I knew. That night I came home, and my dad said the colonel called him and told him what I was doing. At the time, my dad was an NCO enlisted, so a random colonel calling him and giving him props over something his son is doing made him proud.
Access granted. Access granted.
Welcome to the UAC's Mars installation.
Bookmark for a happy ending. I'm on the till at a charity shop. I'm cashing out 2 women. One of them is gushing over these page corner bookmarks we sell. Woman number 1. If you don't stop, I'm going to slap your T*T in a minute. Woman number 2, while cupping her chest. Which one? Woman number 1. I haven't decided yet. Woman number 2 walks out of the shop looking sad and sits on a bench opposite the entrance. Woman number 1. Oh, and I'll have this bookmark, please. She hands me the one woman number 2 said she liked the most. Me, oh, okay. Woman number 1. Look, she may be the most annoying person to ever walk the planet, but I'm the one who married her. She paid, left, and a few seconds later, I heard a squeal of excitement. dying for a drying, working mostly service jobs. I've never been able to afford a place that has a washer and dryer in unit. So I usually have to use a laundromat, and because I'm busy just about every minute of the day, I wind up having to go to a laundromat that's open late so I can do my laundry. I put my clothes in and hop back into my car because I'm also running errands. As I'm driving back, I notice the street lights go out. The traffic lights are dark. Oh no, I get back to the laundromat, and the lights are off. I hope that the cycle is at least finished, but no such luck. My clothes are dripping wet. The attendant is closing up, as apparently a drunk driver hit a utility pole, and it's going to be a couple of hours before it's fixed. Lucky me, I load the clothes back into my car, hoping they don't soak all the way through the trunk, and speed up the road to the nearest laundromat, and I pray that they're open. I walk in, and the attendant there looks at me, annoyed. Attendant, last wash was half an hour ago. Me, okay, what if I just want to dry some things? I tell her how the power went out the place down the road, and that I'm basically stuck with dripping wet clothes. And this absolute gem of a human helps me haul my dripping wet clothes out of the car. I proceed to wring out the worst offenders in the parking lot, and she takes them and tosses them into the dryer for free, spacing everything out in different machines so things dry faster. By the time everything is in the dryers, I am soaking wet, and it's closing in on 10 p.m., but she helped me finish up and didn't charge me anything but the first few quarters I popped in when I started. I thanked her profusely and tried to give her something, but she wouldn't accept anything. So I left a note for the owner with a glowing review. I hope it helped her out, but I never saw her at that laundromat again, so I have no idea. The formula for kindness. It is sometime in December, and my son is 4 months old. He's my first baby, so I'm definitely exhausted. My husband tells me to go to the store to pick up some formula, since we're low, but to also give me some time to myself for a little bit. We have a few coupons because my son needed to be on some specialized formula, which was expensive, so any money we could save would help. It had been a long week, and this particular day was a day when it felt like nothing was going right. I'm at the store getting the formula plus a few small things to treat myself when I get to check out. I had to go through the regular man checkouts because of the coupon. It had to be run through like a check. I pulled out of my wallet, and she started to run it through when it declined. She tries again and it fails. She calls over the customer service manager to see if they could figure out the issue. When it still didn't work, she took me over to customer service to try it there, so I didn't hold up the line. Interestingly enough, she and I have the same name and the same spelling. So we were talking about that. She ran the check through again and it failed, and she told me that because the check had been folded to go in my wallet, the numbers at the bottom wouldn't read. I lost it. I started bawling my eyes out. I was exhausted. My husband and I were tight for money enough as it was. And now, I had ruined the coupon we really needed to pay for the formula. I told the manager that it wasn't her fault, and I was sorry for crying. I was just overwhelmed. She told me to wait just a few minutes, and she went into the back to make a phone call. She came back and told me that the coupon wouldn't go through, but that she was going to give me the $15 off, and she would cover it. I tried to tell her that this wasn't what I was trying to do, and I could pay full price, but she told me not to worry about it and to go home and get some rest. That was almost a year ago, but I still think about it often because I truly wasn't trying to get anything my way, but she still saved my mental health that day. I left a 5-star review for her online, and I doubt she ever thinks about me, but I think about her all the time. The slippers didn't slip his mind. My immediate family is spread out across the USA a bit, but we normally try to get together for Christmas, which is also a family birthday. This year, most of us will be gathering, but my eldest brother and his wife will not be able to join us. His wife cannot travel because of a medical condition, and her mother passed away earlier this year, So, for that and other reasons, he will be staying with her on the other side of the country. Because there are so many of us, we pick names each year. So each of us only needs to buy one present for one other person in the group. Spouses/significant others buy each other additional things generally. It means we can each get one person something nice, rather than try and come up with 5 to 10 presents for all the various people in attendance. This year, I picked my eldest brother's name. His wish list had a variety of things on it, including a very nice pair of slippers. How slippers could cost that much, I didn't know, but he wanted them, and I wanted him to have the nice slippers. I went to the company's website on Monday, and they were having a Cyber Monday sale. I didn't think too hard about why slippers would be on sale for Cyber Monday. I just called myself lucky and used the money saved to get my brother another item from his list. I ordered the slippers to be sent to his address and went on with my day. An hour or two went by, and I had a sudden, creeping suspicion that I had ordered the wrong color. I checked his wish list and then checked my order. I'd gotten the size right, but had missed the color he wanted. Drat. I immediately tried to get onto the site's help chat to see if I could quickly change the color before they shipped. After waiting on a 2-minute hold on the chat function for almost 10 minutes, I dug up their help number and called in. I waited a couple of minutes before a representative answered. Representative, I'm sorry, but because of the high volume of sales happening today, I'm not able to switch the order. The best I can do is place another order for you for the right color slippers and send a return label for the incorrect pair. I wasn't happy about this. It hadn't been very long, and I was mad at myself for not checking more carefully when placing the order, and I'm not wealthy or anything. So I wasn't prepared to place another order right that second. While I was waffling, the representative said, "Huh, look at that." And I asked him what was up. Representative, "Oh, I just saw that you're in Chicago. I'm from Chicago." He said it gave him a little flash of nostalgia. Me, thank you for your time. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the slippers, but go ahead and send the return label just in case. Representative, I will do that. Could you stay on the line for a moment? The phone's going to start ringing again as soon as we hang up, and I want to just finish making this note here. Me, sure, but I'll need to put you on speakerphone and get back to work. Representative, I'm fine with that. I put him on speaker, and we chatted a bit while he finished up what he was doing. When he was done, we said our goodbyes. I thought about it, and especially given the rough past couple of years and the fact that my brother couldn't join us, I didn't want to be responsible for my brother receiving a mildly disappointing present. I knew it wasn't a huge deal, but I wanted him to receive what he actually wanted and asked for. So later that night, I got back on the site and ordered the right color slippers to be delivered to him. I figure I'd send him the return label for the wrong ones. And worst case scenario, if he would forget to return them or something, then he'd have 2 comfy pairs of slippers, and I'd be out a little extra money, but I'd manage. A couple of days later, I got an email from the vendor saying that my order couldn't be processed because of missing payment information or something. I logged on a check and saw that the first order I placed had been canceled. The second was in process. I have no proof, but I think Representative circled back and canceled the wrong one for me when he was able. I could be wrong, but I used the same information for both orders, so it seems likely, and it's the option that makes me smile, that he remembered and cared enough to go back and spend time he didn't have to save me a little worry. Thank you, Representative, and happy holidays.
That is pure Argent energy you've just taken into your system. It seems to agree with you. I will unlock the remaining Argent cells within the facility for you. Vega, give him what he wants.
61,337 UAC members deceased. 81% of the facility is on lockdown. Demonic presence through the Mars installation is critical. According to the records, Dr. Hayden, the invasion originated in the Lazarus facility. It seems that a hell wave was activated, transforming 64% of all UAC employees into the creatures you see roaming throughout the facility. The rest were killed by the demons released from their holding cells by Olivia Pierce.
I feel I should apologize for what's happened here. Some of my employees took things too far. Olivia was the cause of all this, and I believe you will have to deal with her in time. You may not agree with our research, but know this. We exploited Hell and its resources because it was in mankind's best interest to do so. What you now see in this facility is the cost of progress. But none of that matters now.
There is an emergency in the foundry. The regulators have been destroyed and the core temperatures are now destabilizing.
They've overrun the adjacent facility. If the venting turbines aren't re-engaged, neither of us will survive the meltdown.